Good morning and welcome to the 2023 PSI Symposium. We're delighted to have you all here today, and we can tell you that this day will be filled with engaging presentations and discussions. My name is Dr. Robin Walker. I'm the chair of PSI currently, and I'll be your host for this event. This event is an accredited group learning activity as defined by the Maintenance of Certification Program of the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada and approved by the Continuing Education and Professional Development Office at the Northern Ontario School of Medicine. So before we formally start our symposium, I would like to begin by acknowledging the land which we are on. We acknowledge the land we're meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today's schedule has been thoughtfully designed to provide you with a rich and diverse experience. We have a lineup of engaging speakers, interactive discussions, and networking opportunities to make the most of your time here. To give you a glimpse of what lies ahead, let's take a quick look at the schedule for the day. After the symposium, we will wind down the day with a reception where you can continue your conversations and make what we hope will be lasting connections. This event has been curated with your growth and networking in mind, and we hope you find it both informative and enjoyable. PSI publishes a regular impact report, and these are my comments in that the 2022 impact report. But this was really the first year that we finally started to see the end of the pandemic. Now, before, those of you who work in the hospital sector tell me your hospitals are at 145% capacity now, and the pandemic is far from over. But in the research sense, there was a huge impact of the pandemic on research. Labs closed, there were massive delays, and PSI made a special attempt to make the life of researchers better during the pandemic. We allowed as long delays as necessary in research to those who had been funded, and we tried other measures to try and make it possible or more possible to finish research that had been greatly affected by the pandemic. And we continue to see some of those effects even through to today. Now we're in another phase where we are seeing the pace of research picking up again, and we're happy to be able to continue funding. For those of you who may not be aware, during the pandemic, indeed right at the beginning, PSI actually funded a special competition for COVID-related research. And that was something we did within a matter of weeks of the start and was incredibly successful. We had well over 100 applications. Obviously, we couldn't fund 100 applications, but we were able to fund some groundbreaking studies that started right at the beginning of the pandemic. We're starting to see the results of those studies today. If you're tech savvy and you have, my notes say Twitter, but I believe it is now X. So if you wish to tweet about today's event, the hashtag is hashtag PSI Symposium 2023. I encourage you to make the most of your time here, engage with fellow PSI grantees, and absorb all the valuable insights and knowledge that today has to offer. Right before we dive into the day's activities, I'd like to express our gratitude to a few people. First of all, to our staff, many of whom are here today. You may be aware that PSI is now a virtual organization in the sense that we have sold our office and our staff all work from home. And they work from home not just in Toronto, in London, Ontario, in North Bay, Ontario, in Taiwan. Many of them are here today, and I think you all know that the real work's done by the staff, and we won't be here today but for their hard work in preparing for this symposium. Also, our gratitude to our committee members who are all volunteers and give us countless hours of time. We really appreciate that. To the Arts and Letters Club for letting us host in their lovely building. Isn't this a spectacular location for a symposium? And to everyone else who has contributed to making this event possible. And as well, thank you to you all for being a part of today's 2023 PSI Symposium.